So Destiny is being sued by Pxie, someone he's collaborated with in the past, who is alleging, which seems to not just be an allege at this point, that he has leaked pornographic material of her with somebody on Discord who then shared it with the whole world, and now it's out there for everyone to see. So she wrote a Substack, she wrote a tweet. We're going to be going through all of it. We're going to be going through the legal aspects. We're going to be covering it. I'm going to be giving my thoughts on it. We're going to be reading her response, and we're going to be trying to figure out what's going to happen next and if this was a good call for Pxie to make. Let's get into it. So this just happened like 5 hours ago, where Destiny is now being sued by Pxie. She posted this on her Twitter at like 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, saying, on November 29th, the streamer Destiny non-consensually shared my nudes, making me a victim of revenge. I'll be suing him in federal court. Here is my story. And she links to her Substack. Pxie and Destiny have known each other. They've been on podcasts together. They've done debates together. And at a certain point in their past, they've had a sexual history. And unfortunately, Destiny has been incredibly sloppy with how he shares these types of images, which is why there's a video of him doing a sex act on another man floating around that everyone thinks is Nick Fuentes. But a part of that leak that got kind of covered up by the Fuentes scandal of it all is a video of Pxie, which obviously I'm not going to show and haven't seen, to be clear, because I think that would be wrong, of Pxie and Destiny doing a sexual act as well. And apparently this was released non-consensually, as Pxie will go on to say. So we're going to read the Substack. It starts, I will be suing Stephen Kenneth Bunnell II. On November 29th, I learned that the streamer Destiny had non-consensually shared pornographic content of me online. My dignity, peace of mind, and hopes for the future were stripped away in a mere matter of seconds following the betrayal of someone I previously trusted. I'm at least the third person he has done this to. I hope to be the last. I will not be commenting on the experience of the other woman he has hurt, as it is not my place and story to tell. I will, however, share my story in the hopes of preventing this from occurring again. I've known Destiny for around 5 to 6 years now, and often find myself in heavy disagreement with him. Despite this, I do my best to see the best sides of all people, trying my hardest to spread positivity and create understanding where I can. It's corny, but I want to meet people where they are and focus on which ways we could build bridges together towards a better future for everyone. Some people call this a fault of mine. They claim I am naive and should be more careful. Those people are right. When I was 19, over 5 years ago, I was extremely sexually inexperienced and sheltered, being severely terrified of leading someone on, or as say, I thought I could trust Destiny, who I had multiple long conversations with regarding consent and boundaries. So you can imagine my surprise when I discovered he distributed pornographic content of me without my consent. Yes, you read that right. Stephen Kenneth Bunnell II sent pornographic content of me to a random 19-year-old e-girl Discord kitten whom he had never met before. Then she published it to the whole world. Rest assured, despite having never met her, he at least spoke of her plenty of times on the phone. Of course, this is what he says happened. I think it is just as likely that he used her as a proxy to widely distribute this material while claiming deniability. I do not understand why Destiny would knowingly and willingly put me in a position where I would receive nonstop abuse and harassment. If we believe him, he was trying to impress a barely legal teenager using my body and my privacy. The betrayal, coupled with the hundreds of messages I've received filled with sexual harassment and abuse, have left me feeling hopeless and devoid of almost all happiness. The only thing that has kept me going is the hope that I can bring this man to justice and have him face legal consequences for his actions. For the past few months, I have been speaking to lawyers about my situation and what to do, and have decided this is the best course of action. I will be suing him for violating U.S. Federal Code 15 U.S.C. 6851, civil action relating to disclosure of intimate images and for publication of private facts in Florida. I'll be seeking emotional and punitive damages for his actions. I've been told that a court case like this could potentially cost over tens of thousands of dollars. I am terrified. I mean, this guy talks about potentially suing Hassan as if for fun, and Hassan actually has the resources to defend himself. I cannot imagine what he might try to do to me in this process. Sometimes I wonder if he does this as an intimidation tactic. I wonder if he is purposely trying to put fear into my heart when he casually talks about throwing money into a lawsuit with a multi-millionaire who can fight back, as if it's an indirect flaunt/warning over his capability of outspending me in whatever legal case I throw at him. At the request of my friends, I have been encouraged to link my Give, Send, Go regarding this case here in hopes that we can raise enough for me to legally succeed. And then we have a link to a GoFundMe adjacent page that is called /SueDestiny, which we will be looking at. Whoever the next Joe Rogan of the left is cannot be someone that crosses sexual boundaries, violates consent, and puts women's well-being and safety at risk. It cannot be someone who puts women in positions where they will be sexually abused and harassed. It concerns me that Destiny has been interviewing potential DNC chair candidates such as Marianne Williamson and Martin O'Malley, who have no idea of what he's done. As time passes and he tries to position himself to have interviews with increasingly powerful figures such as Zelensky, I can't help be filled with fear that Destiny might continue to succeed despite facing no repercussions for his actions. If the Democratic Party wishes to succeed in the future, it cannot be a party that accepts the sexual exploitation of women. It cannot be a party that allows men like Destiny to break into the mainstream, for allowing him access to such spaces would be a direct endorsement of his behavior. I have been told that the payout might not be worth the harassment and attention I will receive. In an ideal world, I would do this privately, but I've been told there is no realistic way the court would grant me anonymity. This means my only option is public. I've been told by a variety of people to not go public. I've been told by some people that Steven really does feel sorry, but I'm not inclined to believe them, especially taking into consideration his actions regarding me. Regardless, what Destiny did is unacceptable, and I believe he will do this again unless he faces justice. Let me be clear. Destiny has violated federal law in his transgressions against me. He has violated my consent and is directly responsible for the sexual abuse I've received. I am terrified. And then we have an evidence log here, which we will go through. Now, I've seen this situation kind of privately brewing in the background with Destiny not wanting to talk about it and being very kind of cagey if it ever gets brought up. And some people speculated that the Fuentes stuff was just cover to distract people from this, which was the bigger issue. And it could be that Destiny didn't talk about it because he knew a lawsuit was coming, and you don't usually want to talk about something if a lawsuit's on the horizon. There's a couple of things that I think are strange about this, like talking about trying to take away Destiny's position in the Democrat Party and wanting to remove him as being a voice on the left. There's a few strange choices of verbiage here. For example, I don't know if I would say that it makes sense that Destiny leaked this stuff to this Discord user on purpose to in some ways defame Pxie. But at the same time, I don't know if that matters, because according to the US federal code, which we'll look at now, that doesn't seem to be part of the criteria that determines if a law was broken. So according to 15 US Code 6851, civil action relating to disclosure of intimate images, the only thing that has to happen is that there has to be commercial pornographic content, which there definitely was, because according to the government website, you can now bring a new type of federal civil lawsuit. This is according to 2022 in the Violence Against Women Reauthorization Act. This lets you bring a civil action in federal court against someone who shared intimate images, explicit pictures, recorded videos, or other depictions of you without your consent. It also includes sharing those intimate images through technology such as the internet or social media. So while I don't think Destiny probably did this intentionally to harm Pxie, unless there's some like weird Pxie and Destiny hatred that I don't know, it doesn't seem like it matters. And we're going to look at the specific criteria of what this law says. So in general, except as provided in paragraph 4, an individual whose intimate visual depiction is disclosed in or affecting interstate or foreign commerce, or using any means or facility of interstate or foreign commerce without the consent of the individual, where such disclosure is made by a person who knows that, or it recklessly disregards whether the individual has not consented to such disclosure, may bring a civil action against that person in an appropriate district court of the United States for relief as set forth in paragraph 3. And so Destiny would fall into probably the recklessly disregards part of this. And importantly, in the consent section, we see the fact that the individual disclosed the intimate visual depiction to someone else shall not establish that the person consented to the further disclosure of the intimate visual depiction by the person alleged to have violated paragraph 1. Now, what's the result of this? This is not a criminal case. This is a civil case. Destiny's not facing criminal charges for this. This would be a legal case that would have to be settled in court. And Pxie's friends are probably right that the cost that she's going to get from this is probably not worth all the hassle, because the maximum she can get for a case like this is $150,000 plus the cost of the action, including reasonable attorney fees and other litigation costs. The other thing she can also get is, I guess, a restraining order or some type of injunction, but I'm not sure if that's an issue. I highly doubt Destiny is like reaching out to her and like stalking Pxie or anything like that. And most notably on this entire thing, there's nothing about needing malice. In a lot of these things, in a lot of these revenge cases, there has to be a proof of malice. There has to be something that you shared it to cause the person harm. But it doesn't seem like with this status there is. It seems just enough that you shared it and you didn't consider the consent. And it seems from what Destiny has talked about it with her that this is provable. Because if we look at the supporting documents Pxie shared, we have a private Discord DM that was shared where Pxie says, "It's more complicated than that. I feel like there's no justice for what's been done. I feel like people for the rest of my life are going to try to send it to my family or workplace or wherever I go. Fact check true. I feel extremely violated with how so many people saw me non-consensually in a vulnerable position. I feel like people are always going to use this as proof that I slept my way into whatever achievement I garner. I feel like it's evidence that everything would be better with me gone." Destiny replies, I think the number of people who know or even keep up with it enough to go after you on this is probably almost zero. I think people hate others involved. Me, Lauren, Nick, lol. So maybe that's an admission that it is Nick, or maybe it's a joke. Way, way, way more, and it overshadows everything a lot more. As for any achievements or anything like that, the majority of the work and stuff you've done has been completely independent from me anyway, so the only person who would say anything like that are the people who have said shit like that anyway and aren't worth the time. Now, I think this is probably true. When I think of Pxie and her career, it seems very not tied to Destiny. Like I've said, they've done a few debates together. They've obviously interacted, but I don't see this argument holding up. But it doesn't matter because the information was shared. Now, what I do think is true about this, ironically, is I think Destiny is right, that I don't think anybody would care about this. I heard about this in the background because I'm perhaps too terminally online, so I knew that this Pxie leak had happened with Destiny, but almost nobody was talking about it. And so this is kind of causing a Barbra Streisand effect where now by Pxie doing this lawsuit, this is what's going to make everybody search out the video and find the video and focus on it. Pxie might think that she's getting a lot of attention because I'm sure she is. There's probably people that hate Pxie and are like harassing her with it. But this is bringing it to the mainstream now. This is how everyone is going to know about it. So is that worth $150,000? I don't know. I'm not sure what the motive is here. Her second point of evidence, which is also a Discord leak, has Destiny saying, this feels super lame and I don't at all want to imply that somehow just giving you money helps anything go away or fixes everything for you. But if you have any bills or owe money on anything or have any financial stuff I can help with, I can at the very least chip in and help with any of that. So it's at least one less thing you have to worry about or stress over while you're worrying and getting through this. This is kind of shitty that this is used as proof of the wrongdoing, because I think Destiny is probably trying to do the right thing to try to like mitigate some of this. I mean, maybe he's also just trying to avoid litigation, but it sucks that by trying to offer financial compensation, you're making yourself guilty, because now this will obviously be shown in a court of law during a civil suit, and it'll be like, look, this is Destiny admitting he's doing something wrong. Why else would he be offering me money over this? And the last piece of evidence, also a Discord conversation, has Destiny saying, ugh, there shouldn't be no. I'm so sorry. There's literally zero excuse. I'd have phone convos and stuff with this person. They were fairly close to me. It's worthless to say it at this point, but I'm super sorry. There's literally no excuse. I won't say or confirm anything about them. If there's any particular action or thing I can do, just let me know. This is obviously Destiny completely admitting that he did share it with this Discord person that he didn't know well, and they leaked it. Now, Destiny didn't leak it to everybody else. He leaked it to one person, and they leaked it to anyone else. That could possibly be the only salient part of the lawsuit. I'm not sure if sharing it with one person, if you're not intending that person to share it, would be a violation. It probably is based on the reading of the law. But again, this is capped at $150,000, and Destiny was already willing to pay money. Probably if you asked the guy for like $50,000, he probably would have just done it. So I don't know. This could just be like a Mr. Girl style thing of wanting to take Destiny down and thinking he's a terrible person. And yes, Destiny is incredibly reckless. The Fuentes stuff was already reckless. It's why are you taking pictures and videos and sending them to a random person you met on Discord? Destiny has to get in control of his personal life because this is just insane. And he's opening himself up to litigation. He wants to be taken seriously in the political sphere. He wants to be the Joe Rogan of the left, but he's like way too Coomer brained to possibly have this happen. It's absolutely absurd. And then of course, Pxie leaks to the GoFundMe, the /SueDestiny. She's currently at the time of recording raised a little over 2,000 out of a goal of 25,000. A pretty modest campaign. And I'm sure a lot of people hate Destiny. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be donating to this. At the end of the day, is it worth it? Is it just going to drive more attention to Pxie? I don't know. I think it is going to drive more attention to Pxie. I think if she really wants to bring Destiny down and she's got a bone to pick, it's worth it. Otherwise, doesn't seem like a good idea to me. But as she mentioned, there's been multiple leaks. Not only was it the Nick Fuentes thing, which we don't know if it's Fuentes, but we do know it's Pxie, and there's at least 2 other people that were leaked in this. And so yes, this is incredibly reckless, and yes, this is harming multiple people's lives. So this could just be like, I want to destroy this person. I want to make sure they don't do this again. But honestly, I think this leak was big enough that probably would have had the effect on Destiny in the first place. I think he'd probably already learned his lesson. So is the litigation going to help anything? I guess it'll get it to a broader audience, but it will also self-destruct on Pxie. So if Pxie is concerned about her future prospects, this seems to be like the worst course of action. But obviously, an incredibly terrible look for Destiny, incredibly reckless, just not okay to do this, just a bad situation overall, and we're gonna have to wait to see the fallout. And auspiciously timed on January 20th, now that Trump is officially the president. You'd think we'd be focusing on that, but no, we're focusing on Destiny and Pxie and leaked pornographic material. There we go. 2025, baby.